Hello, welcome to the wrestling show. I'm your host, Doc Allen, and I would like to thank you for giving this show another try. As I said last time, this will very much be a work in progress, so please bear with me. Please do me a big favor and click subscribe and thumbs up if you're feeling kind. Also, follow me on my brand new Twitter account at DocAllenDWS, and take some time and visit our website, thewrestlingsite.com, featuring hundreds of reviews going back about 15 years. Right now, our featured review is Coliseum Video presents The Best of the WWF Volume 6. Scrooge McSuck takes a look at some of the best matches of the WWF from 1985 to 1986. Also, if you would like to write your own reviews for the wrestling site, please join the forums. Click the link at the bottom of the main page and create a profile, and you can just send your reviews directly to our admin, Eric Von Eric. So today I'm going to be covering the December 9th, 2021 edition of Major League Wrestling Fusion Alpha. The series airs in a few different places, but the broadcast that I follow is on YouTube. And like I said last time, my star ratings are definitely subjective. When I give out star ratings, I consider match structure, execution, crowd involvement, narrative, and simply just how much I enjoyed it. So, MLW Fusion Alpha, episode 12. This was taped at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You might know that better as the ECW Arena. There were about 675 fans in attendance, according to Cage Match. Commentators were Joe Dombrowski and Rich Bocchini, which I might be butchering that name. He used to be Rich Brennan in WWE. Show opens with Caesar Duran and a masked henchman in the ring. Duran was ready to present a briefcase full of American cash to the winner of the next match, which ended up being Ares with Holodead and Dr. Dax versus Aramis. So, this ended up being a really strong Lucha Libre mask. They started off with exchanging wrist locks and holding on for almost a minute and a half, and proceeding to go through many springboard attempts and flipping around each other. They exchanged some more really clever submission counters, including Ares reversing into a pendulum swing and Aramis reversing into one of his own before slipping out. From there, they traded Enzukiris. Ares tried a razor's edge onto the apron. Aramis countered, so instead Ares hit the razor's edge onto the ramp, which was a real holy bleep spot. At this point, the match was really rocking. I was really into it, and I was kind of excited at the notion that I might be stumbling onto a sleeper match of the year candidate. Unfortunately, from that point on, Aramis didn't sell the bump onto the ring, onto the ramp the way I felt he needed to. Just a lot of popping up and doing quick attacks, and they botched an ambitious spot where Aramis went for a tornado senton, and Ares didn't quite catch him the right way. The match continued on through a commercial. They did a fighting spirit sequence where they unloaded stiff shots on each other. They both went down. That's the moment where you would hope that the crowd would give you a standing ovation if they're really into the match. The crowd wasn't playing along. So they exchanged headbutts and went down again, almost like they really wanted that ovation. And again, the crowd didn't give them one. So kind of took the wind out of the sails of the match a little bit. So they keep fighting, and it ended up coming down to Dr. Dax and Holodead interfering. Aramis took the distraction, and Ares slammed him right onto his head for the win at 12 minutes and 1 second. So, really great effort, but there were a few selling issues and some botchy moments that kept this from being a truly special match. And, you know, it's hard to give a super high rating for a match that had such blatant interference factoring into that finish. So, I still say it was 3 stars and 3/4. Definitely worth checking out, and I hope to see a lot more from both of these guys. So Ares won the several thousands of dollars in the briefcase and celebrated with his newfound wealth in the ring. Up next, Alicia Atout interviewed Willow Nightingale backstage. Willow looked really crestfallen. She says she's trying to elevate the women's division, but Holidead won't stop picking on her. So then Willow got serious very quickly and said she was ready for a fight, and she was ready to show Holidead her dark side. So that should be an interesting match whenever that happens, probably at the Texas tapings. Up next, Emilio Sparks kind of got right up into Myron Reed's face with sticking a phone right in his face for a pushy impromptu interview. The narrative here is that Myron Reed has suffered a series of setbacks, including losing his Injustice stable, but he makes Sparks say his name loud, with the notion being that Myron Reed isn't going anywhere. So then the lights go out, and Cesar Duran's female associate, whose name escapes me at this time, appeared from the shadows and basically offered Reed some support. So this is another recruitment angle going on in the Azteca Underground universe. Meanwhile, we see Alexander Hammerstone brawling with one of Duran's goons. The story here being that Cesar Duran offered Hammerstone and Richard Holiday Rolex watches for defeating Contra in the War Chamber, and Hammerstone insisted on rejecting the gifts. So now Duran is offended, and the consequence is apparently sending a henchman just for a standard backstage brawl. Next was a video promo with 5150. These video promos by the group are really well done, and they resemble hip-hop videos. This one was more of a straight-up promo than some recent ones they've done, but basically Conan says that he is the calm before the storm, and Julius Smokes is the storm, and Rivera and Slice Boogie make their case that they're ready to die or become the tag team champions. Up next, we learn from Alicia Atout that since the War Chamber match, several key members of Contra have vanished, and apparently it was Cesar Duran kind of pulling the strings to cause dissension within the group. Meanwhile, Hammerstone is still brawling with the masked goon. So then we get the official debut of the former Enzo Amore as he faces Matt Cross. So you might remember Enzo from his, let's say, controversial run in WWE, where he had a lot of success as a tag team wrestler with Big Cass, and then kind of brought the 205 Live Cruiserweight division to a screeching halt when he became the Cruiserweight champion. And Enzo was last seen getting unceremoniously canned from WWE for failing to properly inform WWE about allegations that were made against him by an unnamed woman. Since then, he appeared in the stands at Ring of Honor's Madison Square Garden show, which didn't go anywhere. It was a one-time appearance, but I recall that in the months after that show, I would talk to people online who would say things like, yeah, I'm not watching Ring of Honor because they brought in Enzo and Cass. And I'd have to point out they appeared once. But the point being that casual observers of wrestling who don't really watch Ring of Honor or follow it closely heard that Enzo and Cass were at the Madison Square Garden show, and it was enough to kind of just let them feel like they could dismiss Ring of Honor. And as we know, the last couple of years have been really tough for the company, even before the pandemic. So anyway, the point of all this is I kind of don't see the point of MLW bringing in Enzo. And this match really didn't do much to change my mind. Enzo got winded probably about 90 seconds into the match, and it was pretty clear throughout that Matt Cross is a superior athlete and superior in-ring performer, to the point where him selling for Enzo's offense just looked ridiculous. Enzo also, aside from being winded, he fumbled a lot of the key spots, including setting up a backstabber and going for the Razor's Edge on more than one occasion. And the finish came when Enzo moved away from Cross's shooting star press. Matt Cross hit a springboard cutter, and Enzo broke the pin by pulling at the ring apron. And then the referee stops to fix the ring apron. Enzo turns around, kicks Cross in the groin, and hits his finisher, I don't want to say this out loud, the Dunzo, and wins at 10 minutes and 31 seconds. Fire that referee immediately. This match was dismal. It dragged. It was 10.5 minutes. It felt twice as long. And I really hope that Enzo was not invited back to MLW. Dud. Unfortunately, after the match, Casey Navarro comes out to join commentary and makes a face at Enzo as they walk by each other. Enzo doesn't like the way that Navarro looked at him and beats him up, throws him into the barricade. And then in a rather horrifying spot, Enzo struggles, but ultimately lifts up Navarro into a Razor's Edge and throws him into the ring post. And I have to say, either Navarro did a masterful job selling this spot, or Navarro got badly hurt. His head bonked right into the ring post, and he was like whimpering on the canvas, like in a, like, oh no, I'm actually hurt sort of way, and less of like a standard, like, ow, I'm a pro wrestler who just got hurt sort of way. So hopefully Navarro is okay. And again, I hope that we don't see Enzo and MLW again, despite that they started this angle. Up next, Richard Holiday has a Christmas gift for Alicia too, even though he knows that they don't celebrate Christmas in Canada. And when you know it, it's his own Dynasty coffee mug. They get interrupted by Hammerstone continuing the brawl with the masked goon, and Hammerstone smashes the mug over the goon's head. And this makes Holiday very upset, and he berates Hammerstone for ruining the holidays. Meanwhile, Emilio Sparks questions Holiday, who now has Dr. Dax on a leash, and they get interrupted by 5150, who would really like to steal the sneakers that Sparks is wearing. And Conan has to remind Rivera that they have a match to win first. So our main event for the evening was a Philadelphia street fight for the MLW Tag Team Championship. Los Parks, represented by El Hijo de L.A. Park and L.A. Park Jr., took on 5150 of Rivera and Slice Boogie with Conan and Julius Smokes. And this was a very entertaining and compact brawl. It went less than 10 minutes, and it was just all action and no slow spots, no dead spots. Both teams used several weapons that were made available to them. Los Parks, true to form, used chairs, and 5150 used hockey sticks and other kind of sports-related gear. At one point, poor Rivera had a shopping cart pushed right into his groin. At one point, Los Parks looked poised for victory when they had hit Boogie with a powerbomb backstabber combo. Somewhere in the chaos, the original LA Park was hiding under the ring and did the old switcheroo. And this lured out Homicide to remove LA Park from under the ring, and they brawled off into the back. Ultimately, it came down to Los Parks bringing in a ring board covered in 5150 graffiti, but Boogie speared one Park through the wood, and then 5150 finished LA Park Jr. with what they call the 456 head crack, which was a double stomp to the head Death Valley driver combo, and it looked pretty brutal. It was a good way to finish the match. So 5150 are your new MLW Tag Team Champions, and it looks like there's a lot of unresolved issues in this rivalry, so we should see a rematch sooner than later. Anywho, the 5150 wins the titles in 9 minutes, 17 seconds. Entertaining again. Some good surprises and stunts. 3 stars and a quarter. Lastly, the new national champion, Alex Kane, arrived in his car, but he and his associate were attacked and chased away by Kelvin Takeman. And that was the end of the show. So overall, I'd say if you watch the first 20 minutes and the last 20 minutes of this episode, you would have a good time. I would recommend skipping the Enzo match. MLW Fusion Alpha continues to be a really entertaining and engaging TV show. The Azteca Underground stuff really adds a unique flavor to it, especially for people who are fans of Lucha Underground. And, I mean, they're doing a really nice job where it feels like everybody who's being featured has some sort of feud or angle. So there's no filler, there's never a point in these shows where I'm wondering why I'm watching something. Unfortunately, the Enzo match really, really stunk, and I would be totally willing to not see any follow-up with him and Casey Navarro if it meant that they didn't bring Enzo back. So this show gets a mild recommendation, but again, skip the Enzo match. So I'm going to stop right there. Thank you again for checking out this video. Again, please do me a big favor and click subscribe and thumbs up if you're feeling kind. Don't forget to visit the wrestling site. And take care.